Hello, sports fans. Mauricio here. Well, let's keep going. This is the products view, and we're trying to get a new product into the table. Just scroll down to the bottom. So, after the men's cotton socks, we should see a new row, a new product, if our code works. I was just laughing because all of these products here, I imported them, probably like a select start. Well, it would be insert into table select star from, and I said where clothing. So I don't know where I got this data from, but I guess there's a video on it. I was just trying to prove a point. Oh, I remember. There was a spreadsheet I found, and then I imported that and then filtered the data that I wanted to import, and that was your SQL video on how to import Excel data, which was requested. But I'm just trying to add a row here. So let's go into the code, and again, we're trying to run this store procedure, add a new product. So guess what the rest of the semester is about? Writing interfaces and button click procedures, just like what we're doing here. It's going to be a lot of repetition, but we need to run code or store procedures to insert a new product, insert a new category, insert a new customer, and then handle the line items of a new sale. But we're going to create a web facility to run as many of these store procedures as possible. So you might as well just get busy. You don't need to wait for me to, for example, to work on your final project. We're inserting rows into the important dimension tables. That's the first thing of setting up your final project. Other than the transaction, what are the important dimension tables? Here, it's products, categories, customers. We should have geography. So anyway, when we look at this code, so you make the interface, and you make sure you have one data entry control for each of the input parameters needed. This feedback is an output parameter, so the code is going to send back some text like product added or product not added into this text box here. So I called it txt output. So coding is input, processing, output, just like nutrition. So let's go to the and I don't need the properties window, but I do want to keep this Server Explorer open so I can keep my eye on those input parameters. So just as we did, watch your eyes, sorry. Anyway, I don't like sliding up and down. It makes me dizzy, so I don't want to make you guys dizzy. But we're going to do the same thing here. So when we filled very, very nicely this sales page, we filled it with 6 reports. Oh, that's interesting. I only selected the products. So the products table that we were looking at a minute ago had a lot more products, so that's interesting. Yeah, so on the products page, I had to confirm it. On the products page, there we go, we should do that. On the products page, right, products, categories, products. On the products page, there's a lot more products. But on this page, I chose to filter the products. Anyway, those are products that were sold. So, sorry. How about this? Yeah, okay, I'm not hallucinating. So this is a subset of the products from the products table. Yeah, sorry. but I filtered it, so the query must have filtered it out. Because all those other imported products didn't have any sales. So, but we ran stored procedure using a SQL command for this customer, all of these reports. And let's take a look at this sales by week report again. That's the result of a sum stored procedure, which is sum select statement. And so this is the stored procedure we made previously, and we're going to run it. We're going to run that stored procedure, and it needs a connection, so you make a command, a new SQL command. And this object's SQL command, that's the one that runs stored procedures. Now, when we want to retrieve or return, when the primary purpose is to return a data set, for other people to analyze, and that's a lot of what MIS people do. We understand the joins, and we'll have to do that more, but we understand the joins. We put the data sets together, and then we just dish them out to all the analysts all over the corporate America. So corporate America needs DBAs that dish out data sets that are condensed and filtered and have all columns of metrics created, and data processed so it can be fed into the next system. So a lot of this is very normal operation then, to move data around. So you could use a web page to kick off, for example, a database to data warehouse data archiving. And you just kick off 4 or 5 stored procedures from a web page. Why not? So you use a SQL command to run stored procedures. And so why use a web page, Fedman? Well, it's a nice interface, and it makes things easier for the program user. So why not? You don't just give anyone access to your database. My goodness. Give them a web page. That way you can control whatever they do. And when they type bad garbage input that would crash your system, you can control it. And you can control hacking too. Unauthorized changes. Yeah, can you do that with Excel? No. So, sorry. So we've done this before. We made a command over a connection, and it runs stored procedure. And we did it with this data adapter. So when your purpose is to get back data, you use a data adapter. That's something definitely to remember. So the data adapter runs the SQL command, which runs the stored procedure, which runs the select from where group by joins. And that's the data condensing process. And that's the process of getting the data into this ASP.NET webpage. And I can only assume that most data presentation layers are the same. Actually, yeah. We could turn on Tableau and execute a SQL stored procedure that returns a data set. You got to be careful not to condense the data too much, because then it's harder to make drill down reports, but I am digressing. So we've done this before. Okay, that's my point. So we have already run stored procedures from this thing called the SQL command. So let's just do it again. This is a nice trick. I'm glad you're seeing it. So this icon or this button comments out the code, and this one uncomments it. So that's pretty nice. So I was pretty careful actually to change the name of the command to match the name of the stored procedure. So instead of SP SQL stored procedure, it's CMD with this new SQL command. And just for the record, it's not a SQL command. It's a system.data.SQL client.SQL command. So this is a ADO.NET object SQL command. It's an ADO.NET object Microsoft created for the explicit purpose of running stored procedures. And what's different about today is we're using it to run an insert statement, and we're not getting back any data. So the executing is just a tiny bit different. Hang on a minute. Yeah, so we're going to run this thing in a try-catch block. And the first thing you have to do is open the connection. So that's different. A data adapter opens the connection and closes it for you. So here we have to, it's a little more manual process. You have to open the connection to the server. If con.state equals, see, look at that, this nice. That's IntelliSense for you. Then con.open. So actually this isn't that far off from SQL code. You have an if statement. In our prior SQL code, you had an if. There is no then. It's just if. And then the next line, you just do whatever code you want. So in SQL, it would just look like this. Yeah. Oh, remember, we had begin. That's right. We had begin and end. And then you can have an else. And then a begin and end. So it's not that different. We'll see in other cases you get an if, a then, and an end if. So there, of course, it's many ways of doing things, and you get used to it pretty with repetition, folks. With repetition. All right. So if the connection state is closed, then open it. And it's this guy. And we're going to execute that SQL command, which runs the stored procedure. And if there's any errors, we're going to response.write ex.message. This response.write, it is a huge mistake not to use that, because that's where the error messages come from. So you're trying to fix your code. That's where the hints come from. So please don't forget that one. All right, so there's a huge section missing. So this is run the insert. And then after that, all right, so we're going to run our command over our connection. We're going to open the connection, and we're going to run our command. So you create it and you specify which store procedure you're going to run, and then we open the connection to the database, run the command. So we'll use this execute not query for inserts, updates, and deletes. We'll use the other way, a data adapter, to do our select statements. So that's the difference. We use this command, inserts, updates, and deletes, and it's separate to do the select statement to refresh the data. So inserts are separate, selecting the data to refresh the tables, and grid view is separate. And that's the next video. See you soon.